Hello out there, my lords and ladies of House Podcast. Welcome to Thrones of Game, the Game of Thrones podcast where we watch the series backwards. If you've never heard the show before, let me explain there, friend. My name is BT Calloway. I've already seen the entire show, and joining me as always is the man who had never watched a single episode of Game of Thrones until we started watching in reverse order, Elliot Jay O'Neill. How you doing over there, buddy?
I'm very excited. This is the second podcast to be recorded in the new SideQuest studio space.
I know, and the first Thrones of Game. Yeah, it might sound a little bit different in the background, maybe a bit more echoey. We are going to work on that, but this is in the as of unyet named house, whatever it may be, that will be the new SideQuest studios. Elliot's new abode. Very schmick, I must say. I'm impressed. A little jealous, but we won't dwell on that because we just watched Season 2, Episode 7, entitled You Win or You Die. Elliot Jay O'Neill, what just happened?
A bunch of people won and a bunch of people died or are going to die.
Yeah, this one's full of like intrigue and plot twists, and it's a pretty good one. It's all in the makings though, all the careful setup that gets knocked over later.
No, I was tempted to do the snoring bit, but this episode doesn't warrant it. It is like meets that criteria, but it doesn't. It's very intriguing. And
just so much nudity in this one.
Oh dear God.
We'll get to that. Yeah, for those of you playing at home, this is the one where Ned Rob Baratheon finally dies, and Ned goes to expose Cersei's infidelity and bonking her own brother and her children being bastards, and it all goes horribly wrong, and Littlefinger holds a knife to him and says, I did say you weren't supposed to trust me. That whole thing. But yeah, what was your MVP of this episode?
I really liked Eddard in this episode, man. He's just, being played the whole time, but fucking hell, Sean Bean is a hell of an actor.
He is. And again, some disclosure on this one. We had to watch through Binge again, who, again, don't change their file formats for region, so everything is sped up a tiny bit. So everyone is a little bit squeaky voiced. It didn't affect too much, but it did, like, sometimes lines didn't quite land with their gravity, as much gravity as they should have.
Yeah, it was like certain actors, you could forget about it, but, like, especially that opening scene between Tywin and Jaime, both
sounded awful. And Tywin, to rob Charles Dance of that Charles Dance voice is criminal. But Jaime especially was like, oh, father, what can I do to help the family? So, oh, my gosh. But yeah, other than that, it wasn't terribly noticeable.
I'm the Kingslayer. Oh!
Yeah, but I also feel Sean Bean wasn't quite getting the gravitas his character should have. But that said, yeah, in just expression and action and everything else. Yeah, really good performance. It was really stirring. Any particular part, or just the rainbow that is Ned Stark? Rainbow? I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, he got a lot to do in this episode, and like being by Rob's side during Rob dying as well. And I kind of like Rob in this episode. I'm looking forward to getting to know him a bit more. He seems a very self-aware character.
Yeah, he did have a great moment of like, I want you to take a letter. Okay, I, Robert Baratheon, titles, hereby decree that Ned Stark, yada, titles. For having gone through so much episode of I'm Daenerys Targaryen Stormborn Windface, and all the other 19 names I have, to have somebody just like, fucking titles, whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting that we're getting like we know we drag on with titles too much on the 7th episode, but for us backwards, it's the 67th episode.
Yeah, well, I like how it displays how he feels about the pageantry of it all.
Yeah.
And I do quite like that. And he is...
you'll hate it being king as much as I did. That's, very knowing.
Yeah, exactly. I had a bit of an MVP for this one. I mean, he's just lying there. He's got his gooey wound going. And just, has like a bit... He's trying to talk to Joffrey. He's like, I'm never meant to be a father, soz kid. But then says to Ned... I went for Ned and Eddard at the same time and I got Ed.
That's a different guy.
I know. And just says, need you to help my son and help him be better than me. So that kind of parental care is there, even if he himself doesn't have it.
Yeah.
He knows that it's important, and to do this, it's enough of it gives you a lot of this character without giving you too much.
I feel like, I don't know, maybe a subtle, not so subtle line of writing as well, in that I was never meant to be a father. So, you never was, Ted.
Yeah.
I suppose he did raise him and everything.
Yeah, because, earlier on, there's a scene between Ned and Seesaw where she's all just like, sometimes Robert stumbles in drunk and I just finish him off with a handy and it's fine. But then...
Yeah, I forgot about their interaction as well. That was very good.
It's so early in the episode. It's basically, Ned's all like, I know what's going on. And she's just like, Yeah, you do, but what are you going to do about it? I don't know. Fuck off, maybe? And then even has some kind of real sorrowful moments where, Eddard's all like, oh, have you always hated him? She's like, hated him? I worshipped him. When we were first married, I thought myself was the luckiest woman in all the world. I thought this bold, beautiful man was now my husband. And then he rolled on top of me and moaned Lyanna, which is Ned's sister that he was meant to marry, but then didn't. She's the one who died when Jordan was born.
Oh, right.
Yeah, complicated stuff. It said, moaned some other woman's name, and she was a corpse in the ground, and I was a live woman in bed with him, and he loved her more. And it's like, ouch.
Yeah.
Feeling for Seesaw, even though, she's awful.
Mm-hmm.
But still. I think, oh man, MVP is a bit tough on this one. I have a few other contenders. I do really like the scene with Ned and Littlefinger.
Yeah, again, I think Baelish was really undercut by the fucking binge here.
Yeah, it's his voice is so a little bit goofy and up there, and it's
and especially as a guy who I never thought at all throughout the series nailed the voice of the character that he was going for.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he nailed the actions, but I never thought he quite pinned down the
what
exact
he's
voice.
Supposed to have. No, I agree, but this scene is really good because he's comes in, he's basically like, okay, so Rob's going to die soon, and we can do this and this, and then you'll gain power, and you want me to help you out, right? And he's like, no, that's not what I want. I was like, that should be what you want. What are you doing? And then but has the whole point of, Ned tries to spell it out subtly, and he's like, I know what you want. Cersei's going to say Joffrey's king, and you're going to say, no, he can't be. It should be Stannis. And the Gold Cloaks, the town guards, are going to back... Who are they going to back? They've got two different lords here. They're going to back the Master of Coin, which is Littlefinger, who pays them. So if you have my support, you have their support, and therefore you win. And it's it plays out, and it's like, oh, okay, he gets it. And how Littlefinger picks up what he wants, and how it's all meant to play out really works to then how it does play out. And it's just a good scene of laying together all these political schemes, but doing it in a way that's engaging and interesting and feels like there's real stakes and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, poor Ned just getting punished for having integrity for the whole thing. It's yeah.
I know. Early on in the show, like the actual show, not this show, I had the idea of apathy of Thrones, where how far could everyone get if they just didn't give a shit?
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, Joffrey isn't really Robert's son. Fuck, whatever. And everyone lives and goes back and plays with their big dogs, which aren't too big in this season, which I like.
Yeah.
They're still growing puppies. That was an easy potential MVP for me as well. There's a lot of good individual performances, and we don't bounce around too much either. We do a little bit, but not so much that it gets distracting.
Yeah.
Well, then we'll move on to let's see how this echoes. Nudity!
Not too much, a little bit, but there's not much of a decay there.
No, it's not too bad. Yeah, we just get the longest sex scene that I think's in the entire series, which is Roz and that other, I was going to say wench. That doesn't feel right.
Sex worker.
That feels too far in the other direction. Where's a mid-ground? It's still whatever. Roz and that other sex worker in Littlefinger's establishment, and he's directing. He's like, no, you're meant to look. They know they've come here. They know they've paid for you. You need to be good enough so they forget what they know. And it's like, oh, it's a good way to put it. And also and basically then goes into a bunch of explanation that's also a metaphor for his life. And it's just a really good scene. And a lot of nudity.
All not just nudity, but graphic implications of how these women
of
are
where
performing.
Hands are.
Yeah, and just a real uncomfortable moment for my girlfriend to be walking down the hallway. It's like, I'm going to bed soon.
We swear it's not porn.
You boys have fun.
Of all scenes to walk in on.
No, look, there's a fancy English guy talking about his plans for life and everything. Trust me, it's Game of Thrones.
Fantastic.
This is prestige television.
Mm-hmm. But that's it. I do really like that everything he's saying is oh, you sound ridiculous. Roz then repeats later when she's a part of his establishment more. So it's that's where she learned it.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at what he does.
Yep. Let's see. And I can't remember what the line is, but it's something like, oh, what you don't know isn't good for you. And he says, no, what you don't know usually is what gets you killed.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember what his lead up. It was a good little bit. And, he just has the line of, I'm never going to win at their game of strength and fighting. I need to win at my game of fucking metaphorically and literally.
I do like that though, you feel like they're into a groove with the whole and when I was a little boy and wistful memories and play with her ass and all more wistful memory. It just comes out of nowhere.
I know it comes out. It was going to be I guess he's balancing the nuts and bolts of his business with his, youthful whisperings or whatever.
Yeah.
It is weird that he's just going on this monologue with her, and it's like she is talking in metaphor about, oh, I know you have a thing for Catelyn Stark, and he's all like, yeah, I totes do, but it does go off a little weird.
Saving himself, Jesus.
And then there's a bit where she's like, oh, what do you want, my lord? And he's like, oh, everything. And I can't remember why I specifically lined that out. I think it's because I think that was because of a really poorly acted line.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the monologue.
Everything, my
Yeah, the rest
dear.
of the monologue was really good. And then he gets to, oh, everything's like, oh, everything.
Yeah.
What? What the fuck happened to your acting all of a sudden?
Yeah, I feel like he read that as it was written, not like performed a natural O.
Yeah.
Oh, everything. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like,
I can't act.
What's my line here? Everything. I have to do it all again? No, just the word everything. Oh, everything. Yeah, so that'll do it. What? I wasn't ready. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Other nudity. There's a bit of man cock.
Yep.
But this is again more torture nudity. This isn't fun. This is a guy who tries to poison Daenerys, who's going to get marched behind the Carl's horses until he can't walk no more, and then he'll just be dragged till he dies.
Yeah.
Yes. So
There's a punishment.
Yeah, that's nudity and implied violence altogether. But let's just skip straight over to violence.
Yep. Dragon behind a horse.
That's about it. Yeah, I don't think it was... He attempts to poison her, but that's, again, implied violence of what might happen. It's a bit of a weird directed scene. There's a lot of close-ups, and it's just a little too much.
Yeah.
It's look how serious everyone's face is. Look how serious this face is. What about this face? And it just... Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just too much.
I got vibes. Did you ever see the Family Guy parody of Return of the Jedi? I think it was called It's a Trap, where they do make fun of that scene, and then it's just everybody constantly blinking and staring at each other and stuff.
Yeah, over the sand pit where they're just looking and nodding.
Yeah.
Look, nod, look.
Eventually cuts to that scene of Caddyshack. Well, we're waiting. And it's like... It's not good when you get vibes of a parody of something like...
Yeah. But I mean, that said, the rest of the scene works out pretty well. I like his whole performance of, oh my God, I need to get you this special wine. And it does seem fairly innocent until a certain point where Jorah rocks up and is like, how about you open that and take a drink? And he's like, me? No, I'm just a lonely merchant. I could... Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was just... They wrung that cloth out way too much. Like,
I agree. It all works just fine, but it's just too many close-ups, too many bites of looking at someone, then looking at someone else. And
yeah. No, for a show that, like, in what I really like about it is that it doesn't think the audience is stupid. Like, this scene really
feels
hammered
like,
it home.
Yeah, that's like, do you get it? There's suspense. It might be poison. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. But while we're in violence, other violence. It's sort of violence where Tywin's skinning and cleaning a deer while talking to pitched up Jaime.
Which, of course, is symbolism, because the symbol of House Baratheon, which Robert is a part of, is the stag, and he's cutting up a stag.
Yeah, really didn't know why Tywin is doing, like, saying, why does the wolf care about the comments of the sheep, when he's kind of doing sheep work right now?
I guess it's to prove he can, but apparently Charles Dance actually learned how to do that for this scene.
Really?
So, yeah.
I did wonder, like, what he has there. Like, surely it isn't an actual deer carcass, but...
And presumably not. They just got a really, really realistic model with guts.
Yeah, but, like, is it going to be like one of those internet videos where they shove a knife in it and it's actually a mud cake?
It better be. Because, they have to... It can't be real because they have to reset for scene and do it again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah. And unless there was, a conservation effort on getting the deer numbers in that area down, and
maybe
it just so happened, and Charles Dance says, I've already done it 10 times today to prepare for this. Well, I'll do it 10 times more.
Now, who wants venison? But I mean, he's got a line there where he's back and forthing with Jaime, and it was a good scene, despite Jaime's squirrel voice. And there's a bit where Jaime's all like, I could care less what people says, and he says, that's caring. It's like, that's good. Not giving a fuck is caring what they care.
Yep, that's it. I didn't have much to say about this scene. And it's just that I think I was actually, unfortunately, more focused on Charles Dance, cutting away at this deer skin.
Yeah, no, it's captivating visual to him just really digging in there. And then it's a cake all along, no, the only point he really makes is that, as long as Tyrion is captive without impunity, the more our house falls in its power, yada yada, which is his whole point. It's always his whole deal. And then he's all like, one day I'll be dead and you'll be dead and Cersei will be dead and her children will all be dead. And it's like, yep, that happens. We watch it all.
Yeah, the only one we see alive at the end is Tyrion.
Yeah, true.
Oh, and that's actually something that did stand out for me, is that this is probably the first time I've seen those two in the room together.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of... We don't see Jim Jam and Tywin often. I know we do way later when Jim Jam offers to stop being a member of the Kingsguard and father children and all that kind of stuff. But I think that's mostly it. They don't really have a lot of solo scenes, which is a shame because they have power player of actors. It's a good dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did also want to give a shout out to the one who knocks on Twitter, who did send me a clip of a deleted scene of Maester Pycelle and Tywin Lannister, apparently from season 3, where we were talking about how it's weird that Pycelle seems to be pretending to be a doddering old fool when he's actually much more with it. And there's this basically a scene where Tywin is out fishing, being very manly once again in his Charles Dance kind of way. Yeah. And basically Pycelle walks up to him and Tywin's like, look, I know what you're doing, dude. Just, I can't figure out why though. What the hell is the deal? And he's like, oh, people who want too much and get too big get cut down. And I don't want to be cut down. So I pretend to be an idiot that no one cares about. And he's like, all right, fair. Well, bye.
I guess that's why they didn't include it then, if that's what, because I haven't seen the scene yet. But that scene sounds like it doesn't go anywhere either.
Well, I mean, given that if that was the last scene of this secret, that was it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but why? So yeah, I can see why they would have cut it. And it's not The Office where the deleted scenes are still canon.
Yeah.
Because he does seem to be genuine. Unless he was pretending to be like a doddering old fool the entire time, and then the Alzheimer's started to kick in and he became a doddering old fool.
Right.
Would have been ironic, but oh well. He just wasn't important enough to be part of the show, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because that's it. You don't have a scene where he's going to be betraying someone and using information against them or anything like that. And if the play is just that, I don't want... It's like, what is it? The Pete Hornberger theory. You rise to the level of your incompetence. So if you stay a bit more incompetent than you actually are, you won't get a job that you're unqualified for.
Yeah, it's a good plan. I mean, and I think that's the thing. He was never going to jump out and do a little finger of, aha, I have the advantage now because I want it all. He's just like, I just want to keep living. And everyone, please stop paying attention to me.
No, that's it. He has a steady job in the royal family, and he keeps getting prostitutes. I don't think,
and he lives to the end. Yeah. So, you know what? Good plan, I guess. It worked.
Totally.
And the only man who knew the truth ended up dying. So, yeah, good plan. Oh, thank you very much, one who knocks on Twitter. We love you.
That's small beans. We need our own bet.
Cock.
You're good. The other moment of violence was, right at the end of the episode.
When basically they all march into the throne room and it's like, King Joffrey is going to take people swearing to him, and Ned's all like, I have a letter. Would you read the letter, please?
Get a witness, you dipshits.
Yeah, that kind of bugs me in this one, because even Robert, when he gives him the letter, says, now don't show that to anyone until I die, after I die. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why not just bring everyone and tell them? What's the harm?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't get it. But yeah, that doesn't work out. And then Cersei just goes, oh, you have a letter. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I ripped it up. Now you don't have a letter anymore. Sucks.
Actually, I kind of wish Baelish was in there as a witness, and then that would have led more to his betrayal at the end. I guess he would have had to sign it as a witness, which, I don't know.
Well, he pretty much did say, he knows everything that Ned knows.
Yeah.
So Ned knows, kind of hard to say. Ned knows.
Speaking of nose, who's this guy in Eastwatch with a weird nose? I want to see the nose.
I do like this bit where they're all getting their assignments. They're all squires. Like, you'll be going to this guy, and you'll be going to this guy, and you go to this guy. Do not mention his nose.
Yeah. I'm blind and I saw that thing.
Yeah. But I mean, even then, sometimes when people say something, that's like, I wasn't going to until you mentioned it. Now it's all I can think about. Yeah. It's like, way back in music school, I might cut this. I'm just going to... Way back in music school, we were doing an ensemble, and it was a group, the one we had with a group of 3 singers.
Oh yeah.
And I showed up early for rehearsal one day, and I was like, oh, I think her name was AJ comes in, and she's like, oh, she'll be in here in 10 minutes, and don't dare call her Mama A. And I'm like, that literally would have never occurred to me to do that. Why would you say that? Now it's all I can think about.
Mama A.
I know. It's like, It never would have crossed my mind to make that. Her name's already just AJ. It's very simple.
Yeah.
At most, I might have gone to A.
Yeah.
Yeah, very weird. I still remember it like a decade later of just being like, cool, I wasn't gonna.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with the rehearsal.
Yeah, it's Amy's going to be here in a second, and whatever you do, just never, ever call her Benelope.
I know, pretty much. Like, cool, but why? But also, what? Yeah, so it might have been that situation of just, well, now it's all I can think of. It's like a completely normal nose. Did he change it? We can't do that. We don't have rhinoplasty. All I want to do is ask now. Am I talking to the right guy?
Yeah. Oh, weird shit.
Yeah, but again, this was kind of a good bit of, John becomes a squire and he's all pissed off. I'm going to be a ranger.
Yeah.
And Sam's like, no, don't you get it, you idiot. They're making you, like, grooming you to command, and like if you're a squire you're going to be in part of all the meetings and see all the strategies and stuff. It's a good thing, you idiot.
Yeah, and we get a really bleak story about the pop singer who got sent to the Night's Watch and told not to fuck anymore. Yeah,
Pip, who's all like who again, I like this point of reference because in a previous / later episode, not confusing at all, we have someone, I think it's Sam, says, oh, Pip's a great singer. Gilly asks him to sing a lullaby. And he says, oh, I can't really sing. Pip back at Castle Black, he's a great singer. And no, this is Pip. And he's like, sing us a song, Pip. He's like, I don't want to. But yeah, he's got the sad story of, a lord in command or something, put his hand on his leg and said he wanted to see his cock. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And then
he's here.
Now he's here. And then Sam's like, oh, I thought you were arrested for stealing a wheel of cheese for your starving sister. And I thought for a second it was going to be like a Joker thing of how did I get these scars?
Yeah.
Always changing the story. And he just goes, oh, yeah, how many people am I going to tell that a lord tried to touch my dick before I get killed? And it's like, yeah, fair. So he just has the cheese story as cover. It's a good little, it tells you a lot with only a little bit of dialogue, and it's really good.
No, quite enjoyed that.
And also when Maester Old Guy's like, Sam, you'll be joining me in the library. I want him to be like, fuck yeah, books.
Ooh, libraries. I've read about them in books.
Yeah, because even at the beginning of this whole bit, you get, John's up on top of the wall with Sam, and Sam's all like, do you miss girls? I miss girls. I never really spoke to them, but I read about them in a book. But he doesn't. He's like, oh, just looking at them and things.
Yeah, he probably did, but they could deleted scene. Let us know, one who knocks on Twitter.
Is there a deleted scene where every line of dialogue of Sam's ends in I read it in a book? Sure.
Let us know. We moved on to... do we have much more to say about the violence at the end? It was very quick.
It's very quick. It's all very, shocking revelation, because I do like how everything in this scene is built more to be a political intrigue kind of thing. And it's meant to be basically the two sides standing off against each other rather than the idea that Ned's going to get betrayed and thrown into a cell. And I like that this was a genuinely shocking moment of, he thinks the gold cloaks are on their side, but then all of a sudden they turn and stab all the Stark troops. And it's like, oh, wait, shit. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It definitely did a great misdirect of making you think it's going to be about, because again, he's had that first scene with Seesaw where he says, I know what the deal is. I'm going to tell Robert when he gets back from hunting, but then Robert gets hurt when hunting. And then there's a bit where it's like, oh, interesting. How did he get this wine? It's like, oh, his squire gave it to him. His Lannister squire. Oh, and Varys as always has the great line of like, oh, well, good of his squire to make sure the king was well refreshed. And it's like, as if to say, oh, I think there's something up there. You think there's something up there, Eddard Stark? Because I think there's something up.
Varys just, oh man, the things between the lines, he's just shouting them, but just delivering it in that quiet Varys way.
It's like, I said not. I merely said he was refreshed. Who doesn't want to be refreshed? Yeah, pretty much. I do. I like that a lot. It's exactly like, so he gets called down and he's like, what? I just said refreshed. It's like, you didn't say refreshed. You said refreshed. In that very Varys kind of, oh, you sneaky Varys, I love you.
And you put the comma before refreshed. And I'm struggling on that, trying to figure out the words you were saying. I can't remember how that song goes. It's been a while since I've listened to Hamilton.
I knew the bit, don't worry.
Anyway.
So that's all our nudity and violence. This might shoot through some questions, through some notes here. We've done a good job. There's a weird bit of Theon and Usha, who she's all just working away, and he's all like, oh, aren't you just working away there? I'm like, you could be my lady. And she's got a good bit of like, he's all, you have to call me my lord. And he's like, well, what's that mean? He's like, it means, because my father's a lord. It's like, so you're not a lord? It's like, no, I mean, no, I will be when he dies. So you're not a lord now, but you want me to call you a lord, even though it's like, what, could you shut up? He's like, I just don't get it. It's like, yeah, fair.
No, Theon bigging up his importance and getting cut down has been one of my great joys of these early seasons.
Absolutely. And then it really does lead into when he does sleep with Usha later, that being his, I'm claiming my prize kind of thing. And then she just takes advantage of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ah.
These early seasons, man, they lock together so beautifully.
No, absolutely. And yeah, we'll get a little bit of Maester Carl Barron in this moment as well.
Yeah, just being a nice dude.
And yeah, a little bit of a hint on the White Walkers.
Yeah.
They weren't sleeping.
Yeah, I like that, these early hints don't really come from wildlings and stuff.
Yeah.
The kind of somewhat unreliable narrators, but the people who would know. So yeah, I'm curious what Usha's beginning is, because I don't remember how she comes into this series.
No, and she's, how do I say, a bit more crazy cat lady in these early scenes than...
Yeah, a bit more the Cure in these ones.
Very directed by Tim Burton.
Yeah. But no, it works, especially for her madness. And the movement she makes from crazy to the only adult in this room is crazy. It's got, again, all the hair. As soon as it's swept back and neat.
Yeah. Oh, and in that last scene, god damn, Cersei's hair was ridiculous. God damn, I'm so glad they started toning that down.
Yeah, it's very like Princess Leia, all fancy up top of her head, and it does have a neat little stag tiara thing going on.
Yeah, but it's almost so far in the other direction of Dan Brady's hair of the more out of place and frayed it is, the less confident Dan is in that episode, because it is so over decorated and so intricate that it's like, okay, you're way too confident for this shit. There's got to be some insecurities beneath the surface.
Seesaw is confident when her hair is like normal and just straightforward. But again, season 1, they're obviously figuring it out. I imagine being on a show like Game of Thrones for a costume designer is just paradise, because you get to be extravagant sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, some shows are going to be, you're an office worker. I guess you wear office clothes. But yeah, something like this, you get to just go hog wild.
Yeah. But it's always surprising because, like, I don't know if it's just because I'm more... it's what I saw of Lena Headey first with the shorter haircut. But, yeah, I thought she pulled that off way better than any of these long hairstyles.
She's more powerful the more neat her hair is. That includes being shaven.
Yeah.
Head shaven. There's a bit where, I don't know, again, she's talking with Ned Stark about, stuff. And he's all like, I'm sure we can come to a peaceful agreement. She's like, no. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
Fucking show title and episode title in the one. Like, I swear, if she probably planted a 1 and a 7 in that sentence as well for the season and episode.
Yeah, it was just like, based on the book A Song of Ice and Fire by George Martin. Sorry, Grr, Martin. But no, that was a good bit. And again, as much as it is, she said the thing, the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a nice part. There's a bit where...
if you're still a fan of Cinema Sins, roll credits. Man, have you watched them lately, though?
I've dropped off a long, long time ago.
Man, they're like... Because I'd forgotten that I'd unsubscribed from them, just kind of purely because, I haven't really seen any of the movies they keep covering. I don't want it in my YouTube feed. And they started doing TV Sins, and man, and they don't even have the original guy doing the voice anymore. It's just someone else, and they're so petty and nitpicky. Yeah,
that's kind of what I got turned off. It's just, I was like, you've taken that out of context just to make it negative, and even though the rest of it is accurate, those little bits bug me a lot.
Yeah, I don't know, it just stops being fun, like I more liked when they were sort of,
when I was riffing on things rather than, it just got mean at a certain point.
Yeah.
Hot takes on Cinema Sins. Those are your sins, cinema. There's a bit with Dan Brady talking to Khal Drogo. She's like, it's not a chair, it's a throne.
We have no word for throne.
We have no I sit on horses and I ride about on horses. Is it like an iron horse?
And then later, Jorah, you saved my Khaleesi. You get the best horse.
I do like that. Well, it ties into them as a culture. It's just all about horses. And I dig it. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Because he walks into the room and he looks at the guy who like nearly poisoned Dan Brady, and then takes a torch off a guy, and then just throws that torch in the fire, and that's it. I was like,
the fire was already lit, dude.
Was this just an acting choice made by Momoa? I'm confused. What was the point?
You've just ruined a perfectly good torch.
Yeah, and then he, flounces about the room being like, I'm going to ride across the sea on a wooden horse and we're going to conquer them in their iron clothes and their stone houses. Yeah, stuff.
I didn't know what to...
To be fair, it was better than what I just made it out to be.
I know, but it was kind of that sort of ridiculous acting and, I don't know, true to this character and I guess their civilization who, care more about pillaging and, riding in a town and taking what's theirs on horseback. But I didn't get a good read on what Dan thought of this. I'm guessing she's not into the whole raping women and making slaves of their children lines, but...
No, well, she won't be soon, but at this point, I feel like I can get a solid read, and her read is, God, I'm wet. Like, she's just looking at the shirtless Momoa flancing about, and the firelight is dancing across his pecs as he's making all these bold promises to conquer the world and give her the throne, and she's just like, yep. Oh.
Yeah, that's it. From thinking a throne was a ridiculous notion before to this, I will promise my child who... will mount the world, the stallion that will mount the world? Yeah,
so putting a horse on a horse. Well, seeing as they also use mount in terms of rape usually. So either the horse who rides the world that is also a horse or the horse that fucks the world. Or both.
Yeah. No, definitely. I guess I mostly thought that Dan was into him in this moment, but... I was like, this kind of conflicts with her politics later on, but whatever.
Again, the squandered opportunity of Dan Brady is going to be my biggest touch point on this entire series. She would be so much more interesting if she wasn't portrayed as a great hero and is just portrayed as a rising power who arguably has some better politics, but maybe just because that suits her ends.
Yeah.
It would be infinitely more interesting to me, but oh well, this is the show we have.
Yeah, and I guess it's kind of the problem of them offing Momoa so quickly, and that there could have been more scenes of her seeing the bad side of the Drogo, Carls or whatever.
Like one thing I was really curious because last episode is the one where the witch gets introduced and we have the pile of heads and stuff. So I'm like, okay, in this episode we're going to see which town they conquered. Nope, it was just it was just a town. They were just in the area and needed stuff. And it's like, there's that savagery that would give Dan Brady's plotline a bit more of that grey that...
They just went to a market.
They were just like, we'll go to a market, see what they have, see if they have any antiques, kill everybody and take their stuff.
Yeah.
You know, make a little pile of heads. What can I say? Kronk is really into his decor.
Yeah.
Out of heads.
But no, just this weird performative scene across the fire and odd choice.
Yeah. But it works. We get the point. He's on board with, invading Westeros.
Yep. And getting him, this throne.
This horse that rides a horse.
Yep.
Let's see. I wrote down chilled Pinot for the 3 people that will get that. Hey, Danny. Let's see. Why does Sam's hair always look wet?
He was really from another series in this
really
one.
Was.
I always wanted to be a wizard. I know, because you're not in the right series, Sam.
I do love it. John's like, I just wanted to be a ranger. Sam's like, I wanted to be a wizard. It's like, okay, yeah, you either should be in Lord of the Rings or D&D.
Yeah.
I don't mind which. And the fact they're now casting the new D&D movie, and I'm like,
really?
But you don't have Jeremy Irons in it. How the fuck can you call it a D&D movie without Jeremy Irons?
No, you got to keep that one detail.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like when the Spider-Man new Marvel movies, and they kept... It was only in a cameo, but they kept J.K. Simmons in as J. Jonah Jameson, because as if you're going to find a better J. Jonah Jameson.
Everyone is going to always know Joe James.
J.K. Simmons playing Jonah James.
Oh, god damn, that is hard. I'll write that down later. Let's see. So then I wrote down roll initiative.
I did like the scene as well of the commander of the Night's Watch going, you came to us stinky, you came to us smelly, you came to us just gross, just ugly people.
Ew. Like everyone would look at you and go, yeah. Even if you are highborn, and he does make the point of you may have been highborn or rich, but now you are, a man of the Night's Watch, and it no longer matters. But yeah, it should have been really fun if you just laid that on, like, Kent Brockman at Thanksgiving. It's like, we would have kicked you into the gutter, or if you're already in the gutter, to some other faraway place.
It kind of felt like he did at moments. It's like, you might have been highborn, or you might have been an ugly, smelly fucking bastard.
You might have been this guy. Look at him. Oh my god. Like, tomorrow you'll be men of the White Watch, but you will still be ugly.
You might have been that guy in Eastwatch, with the
The
nose. Ugh.
Yep. But then Sam has a good bit of, he's like, who here worships the old gods? And John stands up. He's like, I suppose you want to ride north to one of those trees with faces. And this one has a smiley face. It's kind of fun.
Oh, man, I feel like the tree looked too stupid to be serious.
Yeah, because usually those trees do look pretty cool. This one, a little too goofy.
Yeah.
But okay. And then Sam's like, oh, I'd like to ride out there too. And it's like, what? Why? And he's like, oh, I prayed to the new gods, the 7, and nothing good came of that. Maybe these new ones now that I have a new house. And it's just like bit of camaraderie, bit of bro. That's nice.
Yeah, gives them something to bond over.
Yeah,
they have a fun friendship.
Indeed. And yes, we find out Sir Alistair is the one who may have screwed him over, but screw that guy. I don't want to talk about him anymore. Renly Baratheon shows up, and for a while I thought they'd recast him, but he just seems to have aged 5 years in the 1 year between seasons.
Really?
Like, it's weird. Similar to stunt butts from last time, we have stunt hands now, because we look at, they're writing in calligraphy, and unless, it might be possible that Sheen Bean knows calligraphy, but not terribly likely, so
yeah.
I assume they have to zoom in on someone's hands, getting the calligraphy good.
Yeah, just imagine that, Charles Dance. I learned to skin a deer. You couldn't even write fucking words.
Want to see my calligraphy? It's astonishing.
I bet he did learn calligraphy. I bet he already knew it.
He was born knowing calligraphy. Like, honestly.
Signed his own birth certificate.
Yeah, he got trouble in school for making one of those, the first letter of the book. I think it's called an Illumination, where the first letter is always super fancy, and it's like, I got in trouble, mother, because he spoke like this from the very beginning, for putting illuminations. Now, if it's a touch of class this school doesn't want, then I don't need that kind of class. I'm Charles Dance.
No class, no dance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dance class. There's a show I want, and I don't know what it's about.
Oh, man. Just lessons from Charles Dance and how to be a good as actor as Charles Dance.
Yep. I imagine that man can dance as well.
Fucking A. Probably.
Let's find a list of things Charles Dance can do. All right. Littlefinger is, again, he's having his whole scene with Ned, and he's got the good bit. Ned's all like, what you're talking about is trees. And he goes, only if we lose.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, fair.
And when I wrote, if we lose, aka die, as is the title of this episode.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you should have brought that.
Death, lose, treason, all the same thing.
Whatever. But then this line gets repeated somewhere else in the series of, we only make peace with our enemies. And I come to think of it, I think Tyrion says it to Dan Brady. So weird that it came from Littlefinger, but I guess it's one of those lessons one of those things in Westeros that just everyone knows, I suppose.
It's one of the things they stick on the back of their horses.
The rumper sticker?
Yeah. Oh,
swish. Nice. John's dog finds a hand.
Yep.
That's about it. That's all I have. I guess that's how they find the corpses they bring in the next episode. Okay. That makes sense now. Right. Good. But again, what were these zombies' plans? Just wait in the snow? Okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I felt like they had a better idea of the zombies after this season.
Yeah. I think that puts me out of notes. How about you?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, well, if that puts you out of notes and that puts me out of notes, we must ask our final question. How did we get here?
Well, without telling anyone else, Baelish got into my quarters and told me that the next episode is going to be called A Golden Crown. So it's a parody song on the sound Golden Brown.
Golden Crown, texture like sun.
Yeah.
Good song. Look it up.
Yeah, and that's about it with a special guest, Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, wonderful. I look forward to that. Weird of Yankovic.
Yeah.
Al of Weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look forward to that. Oh well, until then, I've been BT Calloway, that's been Elliot Jay O'Neill.
Goodbye!
And for now, our watch is ended. Waveforms.
That's a coincidence. Did you know that was our doorbell chime?
Oh, that's must have how it got in my head.
We haven't figured out how and if we can change it yet.
It's charming.
Chiming.
I mean, I know you want YYZ.
Ding 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 ding. We haven't heard that one before. Ours is
it's charming.